I'm American Italian, so that means when my family immigrated to New York, they just lost everything from their names to speaking Italian. We don't really, we never spoke Italian. My dad never spoke. My great-grandfather never spoke Italian. When they went to the United States, they just kind of, I guess, lost it. So that's the proper spelling of my last name, C-I instead of C-H. My family is from Calabria, so it's pronounced Dominic Ciambroni. So even when, someone, it's kind of funny that we do an interview in Italy because in the United States they say, how do you pronounce it? And I say, Ciambroni. So in high school, I got into, well, even before high school, at a very young age, I was always building things. I never liked school. I never liked having to do something that I was told what to do. So at a young age, I was building things, and that is what got me to work with my hands. And then later years in high school, my cousin let me borrow her pair of 1985 Chicago Jordan 1s, and I wore them to high school, like the first day of my freshman year of high school. And I had an older brother that was played sports, so he had friends with everyone. And in high school, it's kind of intimidating. So I wore the shoes, and all of his friends were like, "Yo, those are sick," and I didn't know what they were at the time. Like, it was just a shoe. And everyone was like, "Yo, nice shoes," and it made me feel good. So I was like, "Okay, you can wear a pair of shoes. You don't have to say anything to anyone, and people just, you click." So after that, we had a connection to start getting Jordans early. So we would get the Jordans early, and this was at the time when they had the patent leather Chicago 1s, 2003. And I'd get the Jordans early, and then I would go to like a Foot Locker or a store and wear them in there. And the people working would be like, "Yo, where'd you get those?" And I didn't really have to say anything. And it's just like, it was a good feeling. But, in high school, I had a bunch of friends, and everyone had the same shoes. So I didn't like going to school, and one of my friends, we hung out in a group of like 10 people, and everyone had the same shoes, and literally had to call, like, "Hey, what shoes are you wearing tomorrow?" So you didn't wear the Jordan 13s or the Jordan 1s, and your outfit wasn't the same. So one day I just decided to airbrush a pair of all-white Air Force One mids to camouflage, and I went to school the next day, and people flipped. So it was just like, it clicked in my head, like, okay, now you need to figure out, or this is what you need to do, but nothing was ever satisfying for me. So I didn't like painting. The first paint I used was model paint, and it fell apart. And I found paint, and then it was just a progression of, how to make a proper shoe. It's funny you ask that because I've always, at a young age, had big dreams. I've always wrote things down. I've always wrote like what I wanted to be, where I wanted to get. So in a sense, I think I knew it was going to come, but obviously not. I didn't know how or what. It's funny because one of my first pair of custom Jordans was the Bread Jordan 4s. I just happened to put black Python on it, and then I think Python was something that wasn't really being used at the time as like a luxury. I don't know, people see it, they instantly think it's expensive, they think luxury. And for the longest time, I didn't even want to use it. So, it helps elevate the shoe to make it more rich. And that's, the main reason why I use it. One, I started to fall more at first I hated it, and then I started enjoying using it because the feel and the look of the textures is very beautiful. And my focus is on creating a better quality shoe from the inside out, so not necessarily just what's on the outside, but if you open up my shoes, they were made like proper shoes. So my focus is about the quality other than just the materials. Yeah, of course. I was using, recently we did the pony hair.
Pony hair.
Yeah, so the pony hair is like when the satin Jordans came out, the pony hair was a good material to use because not only did it have the hair touch, but it was a shiny like a satin. And I really liked using that one. I also use, I design my own leather using Eco leather. There's heat changing leathers. There is clear see-through leathers. So I'm constantly working on new materials and leathers. I recently was developing magnetic leather.
Magnetic.
Yeah, so the leather is actually magnetic, and then you can have pieces and closures that actually,
Super.
yeah, some really crazy things, and that's why a lot of the things that people see are just on the Instagram. It's Python, exotics, but we work on so many more things. I love using everything from suede to nubuck to old vintage materials, old T-shirts, old purses, take them apart, repurpose them. But majority of everything that everyone sees is Python. It was fun because, well, one, it's a hype thing, so it's someone cut their pants up and gave me the shoe that they wanted to do and the material, and then it was really about how do you cut it. It took 2 days just to figure out placement to make it perfect, because it's not just about cutting it, making it, and being done. It's about taking every step through the process to making sure that the final product will be the best. So it was fun, and reversing the denim was cool. It was also interesting to do a Dunk SB instead of the standard things that we do. Top 5 customs.
It's a difficult question.
Yeah. Yeah, every time I make something, I'm just kind of over it and want to move on. That's actually why I'm here in Italy. There's definitely shoes that I've done that wasn't really about the shoe. It was more about how it came together. So I did a shoe for Chad Muska, skater, who was working for Supra, and the way I design, just it's like organically comes together. You come into my shop, there's materials everywhere, there's soles everywhere, there's shoes everywhere, and it organically comes together. So if I sketch out a design or draw down this design, and then I go to make that, sometimes it doesn't feel fulfilling. So then it just I scratch it and start seeing something and put it together. So I did Pendleton Supra Skytop 3s with a Red Wing boot sole. That was probably one of my best, funnest creations of how it came together. Who was the worst client? Being in Los Angeles, you get all types of requests, and creating shoes, you get so many different types of requests from, there was a rapper, or I guess you could call him a rapper. He wanted his face on the bottom of a sole.
At the bottom?
Yeah, so the rubber, his face made into the rubber, which at the time I was making molding, but of course he didn't want to pay for it. It's expensive to do that, so I deal with all types of clients that give me total freedom and don't care about paying for my art. And then I have the ones that are, picky and want everything exactly a specific way. I have clients from, even just clients from all over the world that some are super detailed and send pictures of like every little call out piece, like, oh, I want it to be like this. And then I have the clients that just, love my art and respect what I do. I don't even know the set number, but, we get so many inquiries from people that, want something custom and they'll send us the shoe. Because you can only make so many shoes by hand, our wait time is 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
The goal is to get it done in less amount of time. But it also just depends on what the shoe is. Some things can be faster than others. Plans for the future would be to travel the world and do pop-ups throughout the world. So instead of, having just one store, I can go to different stores and work with other creatives and do something more unique than the normal, whatever the normal would be.